All right, y'all. What's happening? What's happened? I Worship Steelers show. Path to the Draft edition part one. I'm light skin you of light skin television. You know what I mean? Biggest Steeler fan out here. Been a 17, is it 18 NFL drafts live representing the Steelers. You see me all over your TV screen when we make our picks, usually in the first, second, third round. My face comes up. You know what I mean? I've been at this year I was the only person that was a Pittsburgh Steeler fan that was at the NFL Combine. Yo, what's up, yo? What's going on? This ain't battle rap today, brother. This is Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. I Worship Steelers is going down. Yeah, we got to talk about it, man. A lot of moves been made during the offseason. A 10-7 regular season. Lost a competitive game in a wild card against the Buffalo Bills. As you all know, I don't have to bring up the speed on how last season ended. You know what I mean? A lot of people counting us out. You know, you guys want to talk about the free agent moves? We could do that first. The cuts, the additions since the season has ended. The path to the draft started with, during the playoffs while it was still going down, the All-Star games, East-West Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, games of that such, college All-Star game. We're looking at a lot of different potential players to draft. A lot of prospects coming out of college. As usual, on that path to the draft, we start early. You have the scouts out there during the regular season that just do that. You know what I mean? They just out there looking for talent all across the country. We have the bless those scouts, the regular Steelers scouts out there in different regions, putting it down, putting in the groundwork to find these players during the season. Meanwhile, when our season comes to an end, we're looking at the college all-star games. Of course, whenever we don't advance far in the postseason, you'll see our GM and you'll see our head coach, Mike Tomlin, down there representing for Steeler Nation, representing for the Steelers staff, pretty much getting a good bird's eye view of these players in person. You know what I mean? They really get to look at these guys face to face, talk to them, kind of nurture them through the process, help out with the practices, so forth, so on. And come game day, they're right there in the stands like a regular fan watching the game. You know what I mean? Getting a good rapport with a lot of these kids. There's about 88 to 95 kids in each one of those all-star games. And you always find us at the Senior Bowl, and a lot of our scouts and staff and some coaching staff, also coaches, assistant coaches out there at the East-West Shrine Bowl, where you can also find a lot of, mid-round talent usually. Find a lot of the East-West Shrine players, falling between the second to seventh round and undrafted, as far as that's concerned. And, we move forward after the Super Bowl is over. The next day, we ready to cut veterans. Especially veterans that we just acquired last year in the free agent process who didn't really work out as planned, or there's just not any room for them with this new regime we have on offense with Arthur Smith as our new offensive coordinator coming from the head coaching job at Atlanta Falcons for 3 years, 7-10, 3 years straight. He was unsuccessful at that for the most part. But before that, he was one of the top, if not the top offensive coordinator in the early 2000s, late 2010s, I should say, with the Tennessee Titans. Had the number one offense during the pandemic with Derrick Henry rushing for over 2,000 yards. And the system he was in had Ryan Tannehill throwing for 33 touchdowns and very little interceptions and a lot of wins. I think they won that division, got into the playoffs that year. And that was based off a decent defense, but a great offense with not many weapons. So you got to give it up to them. Got the Steeler Cup, y'all. You see what it is. Can you guys hear me good? Yo, you hear me out there? How's it sound? How's the sound on this microphone I have? Got one of these cap microphones. Sounds good? Okay. All right, so let's go forth. We get to the point where late February is rolling around. We go out there to Indianapolis. I was out there. I sat right underneath the coaches and staff's booth. They giving my props every day. All 4 days I was out there. I was only Steeler fan in the whole building in Indianapolis at the Colts Stadium, representing for the team, Steelers gear on. I felt like I was part of the process. Sometimes I'm down there, right? I can touch the field down there, sitting where I want. Then I move, about 10 feet up under the Steelers booth, which is open. It's a dome stadium. Every time I get up to get some popcorn or something to eat, I give them the thumbs up. They give me the thumbs up. See them in the hallway, dap them up. We'll get into that process. I've even after the drills were over each day, I would go take a two or three block walk down the street to the Indiana Convention Center, where they have all those meetings. There's like 170 rooms on the ground floor level at their convention center, and it's like that's where they're going and having those 15-minute meetings with players who are eligible for the draft, and different league meetings and whatever goes on. There's a whole lot of meetings and people walking back and forth, so forth. But some of the hardcore fans, maybe 30, 40 fans, they set up a little barricade on the corner inside the place. They let us come in without these, the certified badges and everything, and we can pretty much meet whoever we want. Different GMs and front office people from all 32 teams, different players, former NFL players, a lot of former NFL players and coach media now, a whole lot of media, a lot of recognizable faces. And we pretty much saw every kid all 4 days that was involved in the combine drills. Even if it wasn't their day for the drills, we would see them, the guys that run the drills the next day were in there in meetings and interviews and so forth and so on. And, different, the whole process they had to go through, got their little badges on and their numbers, the combine number. And they would stop. Some of them, I say about 20% of them would stop, talk to us, take a selfie, answer some questions, sign some memorabilia, autographs, and what have you. Even with that, they were very meticulous. Those autograph seeking guys that do it for a living, they're pretty aggressive. A lot of them were getting disrespected. Some of them were being disrespectful also. I got to tell both sides of the story. But for the most part, the guys who were compliant, the different players and former NFL players and, guys like that were compliant would sign things, but they wouldn't sign anything blank. You would have to have some type of memorabilia that has something to do with them, or just something like a football or something. And I noticed a lot of the players, a lot of the college players, that were there for the combine, they were told us that they were instructed by their agents to not sign certain things or to not sign at all. Some of them, they didn't want them signing yet until they actually drafted and on the team. Others, they told them you can sign select things. If it's a football, it can't be on the white side of the football. And those autographed footballs, NFL footballs, it can only be on the brown side and certain types of ink only. And it's very meticulous. I was like, wow, I didn't know it was that deep, but it is. So that went down. But anyway, during the drills, I'm down there checking it out. Very impressive. I see it on TV every year, but I was shocked to see that so many players have been instructed by the agents to not run certain drills or not to do anything at all. And they had their mind made up the day before, and they would announce it when the TV wasn't on. When you guys couldn't see it on TV, they were announcing in between, so-and-so, when the defensive backs run tomorrow, so-and-so will not be running, so-and-so will not be lifting, this player will not be participating at all, so forth and so on. Very interesting process. I got to see it bird's eye view on invite, got to run the 40 outside, had different drills outside when we got outside the building, and before I left. And I'm pushing 54 years old this year. I tried to run the 40-meter dash, and I was timed, and it felt real, and I didn't stretch first. I knew I was going to pull something, but I pulled up lame and hit I think it was a 5.33 40. I believe I could have I don't know if I could have eclipsed under 5 seconds. I doubt it with my weight, my age, but I think I could have had a good 5.1 flat, 5.15 or something like that. If I was at my best, stretched before, took off the sweatshirt, you know what I mean? And If I ran it, I could probably do at least a 5.2, 5.18 or something like that. But I ran a 5.33 while I pulled something. But I pulled up before I made it worse. I didn't try to run it twice. I didn't run it those next days, anything. That was the first day, first night of the draft after I was leaving. But anyway, I'm long winded. Back to football. Let's get to it. Let's talk about these Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's talk about it, y'all. All right. So they go through the process of the combine. They do their note taking. I think they get up to 30 different interviews, 15 minutes apiece with players during the 4-5 day actually process for the NFL teams, the coaching staffs, and everything. And the front offices, they get to talk to them 5 different days. So they have a schedule set up. And for the most part, I think they got to everyone they wanted to get to personally. I even saw our defensive back coach our defensive coordinator now, Terrell Austin, out there running drills on the field. I saw Carl Dunbar, our defensive line coach, out there running drills for the combine. Mark is no longer out there running the speed drills. He retired. It's fun to see him for decades out there doing his thing, but I think he's lightly involved with the Steelers staff still, but he has nothing to do with the combine aspect. Kept running to Ike Taylor there. Linebacker coach Aaron Curry from the Steelers kept running to him at the convention center, every night. I became a fixture over there. They were pretty much laughing. I got to talk to Omar Khan for a few minutes one day. Isolated talk in the hallway. We're walking and talking, took pictures together, asked him some questions without being too direct and too intrusive. And he was giving me hints without saying things. I like Omar Khan, man. He was talking about my uncle's the team barber for the Steelers, David Williams, for decades. So everyone in the organization knows him. My family's pretty close to the Steelers out there in Pittsburgh. And he said, "Yeah, your uncle's a great guy, but of course he can't never shave me." He took his hat off. He's bald, of course. He's like, "Yeah, I've never been able to get him to do nothing with me. I'm pretty much shaving all over." I'm laughing, pause if necessary. But yeah, we had a good conversation. But he seems like a really great guy from the 2 meetings that I had with him. The 2 times I saw him, he was very receptive. And I told him to look for me in the draft this year. I'll be there again. On your screen as we make the selection, I'll be all in those NFL Network and ESPN cameras. Trying to get my light too. It's all good. It's the I Worship Steelers show. So moving forward, like I told you, I'm long-winded. We're going to get into it. It's going to be a long stream. We are going to get into it. All right, so that process is over. February 29th, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. March 4th, 5th, we start making some free agency moves. As you can see, we added some players. Let's break it down. It got to the point where free agency rolled around, I believe, March 13th. It was the tampering period, March 13th. Signing period, I believe, March 15th on a Wednesday at 4 p.m. But we were already making the moves during the tampering period, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We did the unthinkable. We brought in Russell Wilson. $1.2 million is what we paid. I believe the Denver Broncos had to pay $37.8 million of his contract this year. Easy deal for us. We got a future Hall of Famer, a man who's been to back-to-back Super Bowls in his early 20s, the 2nd and 3rd year in the league, former world champion, almost had 2 championships, 2 Super Bowl trophies, Lombardi trophies. We're in good hands. He's only 35 years old. We rolled with Ben, and he was 39. If we extended his contract 4 more years, he'll be Ben's age when he retires. We can get a half a decade out of Russell Wilson. Would that be beautiful or what, y'all? Come on, Steeler Nation, talk to me. Made that move. Messed around. Kenny Pickett was crying. We traded his bum ass. I'm not a Kenny Pickett fan, never was. I was praying for a year and a half that we don't draft him when it was his time. And I kind of knew that was a possibility. And I was hurt when it happened. And I was elated when we traded that fool. I'm glad he's gone. He was killing people's jobs, man. That guy was too much, man. He was just Too much and not enough at the same time. I'm not going to sit here and beat up Kenny on his podcast. I could say I wish him the best. As a human being, I wish him the best. But I hear he isn't the coolest person, and a lot of people from New Jersey told me that. You know what I mean? He went back to South Jersey, playing in Philly with the Eagles. He's sitting the bench. At least he had a fighting chance over here to be the future quarterback, whether Russ stays or not. But he ran off like a P word. And he's with the Eagles now. Got a 3rd round pick for him and 2 7th rounds for next year. Great deal. You know what I mean? The con artist is constructing a team. You see what I did there? Wordplay. Bars. Anyway, Kenny's gone. What do? We turn around and get Justin Fields for nothing for a conditional 6th round pick for next year. Conditional meaning it'll stay a 6th round pick as long as he doesn't get more than 50.1% of the snaps over Russell Wilson or whoever else. As long as he doesn't get the majority of the snaps next season, this season coming up 2024, we will only have to give up next year's 6th round pick. Otherwise, we have to give up a 4th round pick. Either way, I think it was a good deal, but you have to take into account Russ is here for 1 year as of now. Justin has 1 year in his contract with an option this summer to give him a fifth year option on his contract to keep him here for 2 years. If we do that, it'll be like 21 million to have him, and nobody knows if Russell Wilson will be re-signed to a longer contract, and why. And if that happens, why would you pay so much for Justin just for have him potentially sit in the bench for a 2nd year? We're not going to worry about the future right now. We're in the present, and we got 2 solid quarterbacks. Justin, I'm impressed with certain parts of his game, but he's not a winner from what I see. And you can make that excuse. He's with the Bears. He's a grown man. He's been there for 3 years, and they didn't elevate under him. 30 interceptions. He fumbled 38 times in only 3 years as a pro. That's ridiculous. Too sloppy for me. A lot of ability, but he couldn't be my starting quarterback for the Steelers right now. It's got to be Russ. Could possibly be the future, but, we're also looking at Michael Penix Jr. He's coming in for a special visit to the Steelers next month. With that being said, and we brought in Kyle Allen. Experienced NFL backup who's also been a starter for the Panthers a few years back and started 13 games. Actually, Kyle Allen's statistics are kind of mirror Justin Fields' statistics in a way. And his statistics are kind of like Mason Rudolph in a way, and Trubisky, and he's got those mid numbers, average numbers, nothing to write home about, but nothing horrible either. Been on some poor teams in a starting role, but in a backup role, he's been behind Josh Allen last year in Buffalo, so maybe he's learned a lot from the real Allen. But he'll be a solid 3rd string emergency quarterback. The Steelers have terrible luck with injuries, and there's been 3 times in the last 6-7 years where we had to go to a 3rd or 4th quarterback in the regular season. So you never know what's going to happen. We might rely on this guy for the rest of the season, a week or 2, a few weeks, a couple stints. You never know, or maybe not at all. Maybe he never even has to take a snap, which we hope doesn't have to happen. Would that be a concern? All 3 quarterbacks, we switched out the 3 quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph left in free agency on his own to compete for a potential starting job with the Tennessee Titans. Kenny Pickett was traded to the Eagles to sit the damn bench. Trubisky was cut immediately after the Super Bowl the next morning. After the Super Bowl ended, his ass was gone. Trubisky ran back to the Bills where Kyle Allen left in free agency. He ran back to the Bills to be, a water boy for Josh Allen, in so many words. All intents and purposes, he's a backup, what I mean? And he's lucky if he's even 2nd string. That's how bad he was in Pittsburgh. Horrible. Big letdown. We wasted money. Had the nerve to give him a 2nd contract before the first one was up, which was crazy. Had to eat some of that money, but all 3 of those quarterbacks are gone now, and we switched them out for 3 new quarterbacks that we're not familiar with, but they've all got starting experience, and have played in this league. So I think we're in good hands at quarterback. We've upgraded, obviously, definitely at the quarterback position. We were dead worst last year. Mason Rudolph is the only one who played well at all. With that being concerned, we made those moves. Let's look at other moves that we've made. We cut Allen Robinson. We cut Patrick Peterson. We cut the punter after 3 years, Presley Harvin III. We cut Mitch Trubisky. It was 5 players altogether. Cut Trubisky. Quite a few cuts that we made to free up some money under the cap because we were grossly over the cap at one point, and we kind of made it even. And then we made certain other moves to create some cap space. We didn't have to really restructure it all, and we didn't have to tell anyone to take a pay cut, at least not at this point. And we were able to, finesse the cap situation. And of course, the league announced that the cap was going up across the board for all 32 teams. It went up about another $30 million. So that freed space up for damn every team in the league. Every team in the league freed up space for some type of space, except for maybe the Dallas Cowboys because they were so far over the cap. But we don't talk about the Cowboys here. It's our Worship Steeler podcast. With that being concerned, we got to the point where we were able to wheel and deal and make some moves. I told you about some of them. There were some free agents that became unrestricted free agents that we have not brought back, at least at this point. Some of them being, we also had to cut Keanu Neal because he couldn't pass the physical. He's not healthy. We cut him. Levi Wallace became a free agent. He's no longer with us as of now. We cut Mason Cole. We cut the center. All them low and high snaps. It was too much. It's too much. Average blocker. Did him. Never got hurt on us. He's very sturdy. We appreciate him, but the snaps got him, it got us killed. Snaps weren't working. Bad snaps damn near every week for the second year. He was good his first year here. Second year, he failed us. So we cut him. We have no viable center. Ryan McCollum sucks and all that. McCollum sucks. What's the other kid? Spencer Anderson, Mr. Jack of all trades, master of none. He can cut the lineup, but the guy is like not a viable backup center or regular center. So yeah, we wasted our time there with those two, I believe. They're still on the roster. Free agency. Chandon Sullivan. He's another free agent who is still out there. Damn near every free agent, everyone who became a free agent for the Steelers, almost all of them have not been picked up. But the guys we cut got a job quick. Chooks, we had to cut Chooks. He was like 9-10 million, cap hit. We're not going to pay him again to be a backup. He can't cut the starting lineup again. Gave us 6 years, 5 solid ones as a starter. He never got hurt on us. I really appreciate Chooks for that. He was an average at best or below average right tackle. Always led the league in penalties for offensive linemen, but he was reliable. He never got hurt. He was sturdy, but he couldn't push Dan Moore or rookie Broderick Jones in the lineup at all last year. For a few games, he opened his mouth, pissed off Mike Tomlin, showed a lack of effort at some point, and he was benched the rest of the year, didn't play another down. And with that being concerned, we weren't going to bring him back for big money. So Chooks is no longer here. Who else? Oh, Armand Watts left in free agency. He did get a job. Armand Watts signed with the Patriots, as did Chooks. Both of them are with the Patriots now. I'm sure you heard about Cam Sutton, who left us in free agency last year, went to the Detroit Lions, had a decent year. Playoff appearance. He's got some domestic stuff going on with his lady, allegedly, and he's on the run from the cops. I don't believe they caught him yet. So I guess he won't be playing any more football, which is a shame. They gave him all that money. Now he won't be getting paid. And he could have stayed with us, but, he wanted too much, and we let him have it. Go somewhere else and get it. So we no longer have Levi and Patrick Peterson at corner. We still have Corey Trice, who we haven't seen in a uniform yet, and Darius Rush, who we picked up during the season off our practice squad. when the Colts let him go his rookie year after drafting him in the mid rounds, which is crazy. We always had an affinity for Darius Rush during the path to the draft process last year. So Rush is around, Trice is around at cornerback. Chandon is gone, Patrick Peterson is gone, and Levi is gone. We lost three, and we brought some talent in. So this is where we go down to the moves that we did make. We did the subtraction, and let's go with the addition now. We brought in Dean Lowry, experienced defensive lineman, formerly with Green Bay Packers for many years, and as of late from the Minnesota Vikings, plays that defensive tackle slash defensive end role very well. Can be a quality backup for anyone on the defensive line. All techniques, plays all techniques. Um, Fierce pass rusher up the middle, good run stopper, kind of a bully with a mean streak, kind of what we need. A little bit less than 300 pounds, about 6'5, 6'5, 298, something like that. I'm really upset with Marvin Leal. I'm hearing rumors that he could be on the trade block. Mike Tomlin, he's the only guy that Mike Tomlin trashed at the end of the season in his press conference, his year-ending press conference. Said he's very disappointed in his efforts, and he better step it up. He's lucky to be on the roster at this point. I'm expecting more out of DeMarvin Leal. Your boy's overpriced, Larry Ogunjobi. He's solid, but he's always injured. He's not a pass rush threat. He's a decent run stopper. He plays up to the level that the rest of the defensive line plays. If you guys are on it that week, he's on it. If you're having a bad week, he's having a week that's even worse. I don't know, for 7-8 million a year. Ogunjobi, they re-signed him. He's making good money, man, but I don't know. I don't really see the results out of him, but he's a solid veteran. He's definitely not in his prime. He's at the end of his career. We gave him an extended contract for a few more years for a lot of money. So we're stuck with him at left defensive tackle. Nose tackle, we brought back Montravius Adams. We did. I failed to mention that, for a longer contract. And I didn't like him at first. Former third round pick that didn't work out with other teams. When he came to us, he was quality backup. I never thought he was starting material. Kind of slid into the starting role in the last year or two at nose tackle. He was okay. Last year, he came on during the second half of the season so well that the second round great rookie nose tackle Keanu Benton had to split time with him. Benton even had to back up Cam Hayward at some point when Cam Hayward was out with his half-year injury. Cam Hayward, $22 million cap hit at age 36. Crazy. But, Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner. I would say potential Hall of Famer, but he doesn't have anything on his resume as far as great playoff appearances and not many playoff wins, and hasn't appeared in the Super Bowl. So he might be that guy that gets snubbed for the Hall of Fame forever unless we win a Super Bowl this year. Cam Hayward is still here. Hellified cap hit, like I said. Not taking a pay cut, as far as we know, not restructuring. So we're here with the right defensive tackle, Cam Hayward. His backup is in his last season of his rookie contract, Isaiah Loudermilk from Wisconsin. Milk, quality backup, but he's no better now in his fourth year than he was in his rookie year. And we loved him his rookie year. But he's getting less snaps, it feels like, than he was in his rookie year and his second year. Like I said, Armand Watts is going. We brought back Braden Fehoko, very free agent pickup last year from the Chargers. Supposed to be a run stop and nose tackle in short yardage situations. He didn't even make the damn team. He didn't make the roster last year. Snuck back on the roster at some point last season and still didn't get suited up. Yeah, he was a big disappointment. Put him on the practice squad for the rest of the season. We brought him back to the roster for very low and giving him another shot. So right there, we have three potential. We're stacked at nose tackle for now. I doubt we'll draft anybody in a draft at a nose tackle, 3-4 nose tackle role. Like I said, we got a lot of milk backing up Hayward. Dean Lowry backing up Hayward and or Larry Ogunjobi at left defensive tackle. We also have DeMarvin Leal as the wild card, playing everything across the line. So At this point, we have nine, a good nine defensive linemen. I don't think we're bringing any in. We got a lot of experience there. I really doubt we're bringing in another defensive lineman in the draft. Probably two or three undrafted. No need to waste a pick on it because we're pretty stacked right there. The guys just need to play better at that level, at that position. Quan Alexander, like I said, he's not up to par with the injury. Cole Holcomb, and he's not on the team anymore. He's still a free agent. He's a guy we can come back later on before the season starts and pick him up for damn near nothing. Cole Holcomb, first 8 games last year, he played like a monster, had a terrible injury to the leg, was out the rest of the season, still not fully healed right now, but he's rehabbing. He should be back by training camp at the latest by opening day. Obviously, he's going to lose the starting position because of that. Holcomb, pretty much you can say, lost his position to the backup last year, Elandon Roberts, who we got in free agency from Miami. Elandon played excellent for us. Did really well as a starter. He was getting beat up, but he got back in there. He didn't miss many games or many snaps. But Elandon Roberts is definitely a leader on his defense. And of course, we signed Patrick Queen for a big deal, big money deal. He still gave us a break on the contract, if you ask me. From our hated Baltimore Ravens, we got Patrick Queen at inside linebacker with Elandon Roberts. So that's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. Both of them can run that defense together. It'll be a beautiful situation. You still have on the Mark Robinson and Holcomb backing him up. And Jeremiah Moon we got from the Baltimore Ravens also, as well as Deshaun Peoples as the strong safety, a great strong safety from the Baltimore Ravens. It'll pair up really good with Minkah Fitzpatrick since we lost Keanu Neal, free agency. Eric Rowe, free agency. Still have Trenton Thompson that we discovered last year from the practice squad. He's still on the roster. And brought back Miles Killebrew, who made the Pro Bowl with his valiant effort on some punts and what have you, and making great tackles on special teams coverage. There's been changes made to the kickoff rule, what makes it advantageous for us to start getting some good returns. As soon as the rule came out, 20 minutes later, the Pittsburgh Steelers signed maybe the greatest kick returner of all time, not punt returner or return man, but kick returner / running back, wide receiver, Cordero Patterson, who has over 14,000 total yards in the NFL in 11 seasons. And a Super Bowl ring. Cordero Patterson has 300 catches as a receiver, 3,000 yards rushing as a running back career, and 9 kick return touchdowns, the all-time record he owns by himself, more than Devin Hester, more than Deion Sanders, everybody, more than Walter Payton's brother, Eddie Payton, Metcalf, Rod Woodson, all the great kick returners in history. He has more than all of them. So he's a weapon that we picked up. Gave him a 2-year contract for $6 million, which was awesome. So we got some depth there with him as a slot receiver, a kind of like a wing back of sorts, and a third string halfback, a solid third string halfback, which we haven't had for many years. That he covers everything. He can save us 2 extra roster positions because he plays about 3 or 4 positions. Just like Connor Hayward saved us some. We went by without having a fullback. Derek Watt retired, by the way. So yeah, we're saving roster spots with slash type players like that. Got Cordero Patterson in free agency. Trying to think, who else did we bring in? Like I said, we brought in Deshaun. The big trade. How can I forget? Deontay Johnson. Carolina Panthers made us a deal. They said they'll give us their starting right corner, Dante Jackson, their strong outside corner who's very physical, makes big plays. Straight up for Deontay Johnson. We traded Deontay Johnson, and we got more out the deal than they gave us, basically. We got a better pick and everything. So And as soon as Dante Jackson got here, we restructured his contract to free up some more money for us in free agency and make it easier for us. So he may be here for more than 1 year. So Jackson is pretty much going to be the starter across from JPJ, which changes our draft trajectory a whole lot. Doesn't look like we'll get an outside corner, even though we've been looking at plenty of them. Doesn't look like we'll get one in the first or second round. We'll probably get more of a slot guy, second, third, fourth round. More than likely, like a Tyke Smith from University of Georgia or Mike Sainristil from Michigan in the mid rounds, third or fourth round would be a great pickup. I really like him there. Javon Bullard, maybe a strong safety, Georgia, never know. Guys like that we've been looking at. So we picked up Dante Jackson for Deontay Johnson, leaving a big gaping hole at wide receiver, starting outside wide receiver. We don't have anyone to go with across the road from Pickens. So with that being concerned, what we did do is brought in 2 free agent speedsters, Van Jefferson, former Super Bowl champion with the Rams. Last year, he played with the Falcons. Cordero Patterson and Van Jefferson were solid backups in the Arthur Smith offense last year when he was head coaching with the Atlanta Falcons. He brought them both over in free agency. God bless him. So we got Van Jefferson, who had a 60-catch, 800-yard season with 6 touchdowns as a Super Bowl champion with the Rams a few years back. A potential number 2 wide receiver, but he's never really been a starter ever. He just put up impressive numbers as a backup all these years. The teams that he was with, the Rams and coming out of University of Florida, the Rams and the Falcons. We've got Van. We got Quez Watkins in Philadelphia. They call him Quez Dropkins. He drops more balls than Deontay and George Pickens put together, but he makes bigger plays than both of them too. He's a deep threat. Like I said, Van, we already have Calvin Austin who runs the 4.30. I'd love to see him be the starter on the right side. I see a great future for him if we don't bring in any solid, great outside wide receivers in the draft. I'm satisfied with Austin and Pickens on the outside. We need a strong slot. But we got 2 solid backups in Quez Watkins, who's 6 foot, 193 pounds, and he runs a 4.31. Am I right? Van Jefferson ran a 4.32 40 in the combine when he came out, and Calvin Austin ran a 4.30. So we got 3 fast receivers to go on with George Pickens. From what I understand, and rumors are we were trying to get Tyler Boyd. He was dying to come here. His agent got greedy. We're, talking in between 7 and 9 million a year. He wants more than 10 million or more a year. And let's be honest, Tyler Boyd is like a 60-catch, 2 touchdown guy in this point in his career as a slot receiver, even though he's with Cincinnati Bengals, who have 2 of the most premier outside wide receiver tandems in the NFL. He doesn't get as many targets, but he does get a lot of catches, and he does not get into the end zone anymore. Tyler Boyd is a shell of himself. He should have took the 7 to 9 million if he really wanted to come back to Pittsburgh, where he played his college years at University of Pitt. He didn't do it. So what's up, Danny Myers, the bar god in the house, one of the greatest battle rappers / MCs known to man. I was just watching this morning when I left work, Danny Myers versus Disaster, which I thought was one of the top 10 battles, if not top 5 battles I've ever seen in my life. Of course, I love my favorite bar in battle rap is the Scheme with the Presbyterian Church, Presbyterian, them N-words. I ain't gonna go. You know what I'm talking about, Danny? What's up, yo? You know what I'm talking about, Danny. But with that, Big Danny done threw me all off, man. I got a superstar in the chat, man. What's going down? You know what I mean? Now, I worship Steelers show. Back to what we were saying. We've got 4 speedy wide receivers, and George Pickens right now is the slowest wide receiver out the bunch, and he runs, I believe, a 4.42 coming out of Georgia. But we don't have that significant number 2 wide receiver as a starter, or that 3. We don't have that slot receiver. Not now, at least not at this point. Can we pick him up in the draft? Do we just spend a little bit of money for one more receiver before we go into the draft? April 25th, 26th, and 27th. These are the decisions that Omar Khan and the staff has to make. Mike Tomlin has to make. The new coach Azani from the Chargers. he has to make this decision. Where did we get these next two receivers? We got four that are definitely making a roster. We got some guys we picked up as futures last year. One of them was on the practice squad and was on the roster for maybe 1 or 2 games and never suited up, which is Denzel Mims, formerly a Baylor football player who was good in college. He had one season where he had about 600-700 yards receiving for another NFL team. So he has experience. And Marquez Callaway, who had experience with Cleveland Browns as a slot, he was pretty good in the time that he got on the field. So we got 2 experienced guys that could fill a roster the 5th and 6th. If we made no other moves, we got 6 receivers right now. But who's the 2? Who's the 3? We got guys that are really 3, 4, 5s, and 6s, 7s and 8s, but you could also look at the new pickup, like I said, bringing in your boy, the kick returner, Cordero Patterson. I mean, he was drafted first round as a wide receiver at the University of Tennessee when he came in the NFL 11 years ago. So technically, like I said, he's a slash type player, kick returner, greatest kick returner ever, great third string halfback, and potentially your slot or a backup slot at the worst. What's he, 6'3.5", 220 pounds? You know what I mean? Runs a 4.3 40 when he came out of college. I don't know if he still has that blazing speed, but he's still fast, elusive, has great moves. We're thick at wide receiver now. We're in a better position at wide receiver at this point now than we were during the season last year. But with that being said, we're going to add some more wide receiver talent. We might even double dip, meaning grabbing 2 wide receivers in the draft next month. At this point, I don't see why they would have to. Don't rule out the possibility of Allen Robinson coming back after the draft if we don't get everything we need for, he's not going to be worth no $10 million no more. That's why we cut him. He's not worth that anymore, but I can see us giving him a way lower contract with something that won't disrespect him. Maybe not the league veteran minimum, like $1.2 million, like we do a lot of these guys when they come running back for a job with us, but maybe more like a $2 million 1-year deal. He's 30. He just turned 30 years old, Yeah, the peak of his career is over with. You might as well say Allen Robinson. You could bring him back for $2 million after the draft to shore up everything. He still could be the slot guy unless someone pushes him in camp. But who's the number 2 at this point? You can't let Quez Watkins start every down. He's dynamite, but he drops too many balls. You were complaining about Deontay Johnson. He was the best thing we had for 5 years here. And y'all were complaining because he drops 5 balls a year minimum. You know what I mean? So imagine if Quez Watkins was an every down player. You know what I mean? He's been to a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He had good experience as the 4th and 5th wide receiver, which is probably what he'll be here, the 4th and the 5th, and a return man. But, realistically, we can't really expect Quez Watkins to take the bulk of the snaps at the outside wide receiver, at the Y, position every down. I just can't see him doing it every down. You guys hear me good? I'm trying this new microphone. Pause if necessary. Could it be Van Jefferson? Possibly. In a pinch, Van Jefferson has been with the Los Angeles Rams as a world champion. Like I said, he had a season where he had 60 catches, 800 plus yards, and 6 touchdowns. So he could. That's pretty much the numbers that the least amount of numbers that Deontay Johnson would put up in a year like this. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're pretty much getting Deontay type production at best if you put him over there as an every down wide receiver. Not Pro Bowl material, but a deep threat. Like I said, he runs a 4.3, 240, decent hands, decent route runner, nothing to write home to mom about, but good enough to help you win a Super Bowl because it's been proven he's done it. He was out there with Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham and those guys. And what's the other guy, the speedster veteran, was with them? You know who I'm talking about. The track star, University of Texas. Anyway, I ain't gonna beat my brain on that. Pause if necessary. But I don't know who would be the number 2, y'all. Calvin Austin, man. Just give it to Calvin Austin. You drafted him the same year. You double dipped in 2022. You took sorry ass Kenny Pickett in the first round. Try to pair him up with George Pickens from Georgia in the second round, national champion wide receiver. And then you got DeMarvin Leal, the number one defensive lineman, two-time All-American, who's looking like a bust right now, in the third round. Then you came back and double dipped in the fourth round. You got the little man, Calvin, 5'6", Calvin Austin, the fastest man in the combine. You got him in the fourth round as a punt returner / wide receiver that doesn't play slot. He's an outside receiver of 5'6", less than 170 pounds. Go ahead and let that man start if you can't find nothing significant in the draft. You know what I mean? You might have your 6 wide receivers right here. If not, we got to move further into the draft and get what we need as far as that is concerned. Anybody that I'm leaving out as far as additions and free agency. Dean Lowry, defensive line. Jeremiah Moon, inside linebacker, Ravens. Patrick Queen, star inside linebacker, Baltimore Ravens brought him in. Brought in Deshaun Elliott, starting strong safety, Baltimore Ravens. We took 1/3 of the Baltimore Ravens starting defense or significant defensive players and brought them over here. We traded Deontay Johnson away to the Carolina Panthers for Dante Jackson, who also runs a 4-3-2 at corner, starting right corner across from Joey Porter Jr., you know what I mean, potential defensive rookie of the year last year. So you got your corners, your starting corners. You got your safeties. Minkah Fitzpatrick is free. Deshaun Elliott is strong. And DeMonte Casey roving around as the third safety. Trenton Thompson behind him and Killebrews the fifth. We set right there as safety. We don't do nothing else. Corner, we got 2 question marks. 2 rookies from last year who got little to no time. Corey Trice, 6'3", Darius Rush, 6'1.5". Porter's over there, 6'1". We got some height. Those are the 2 outside backups. But we don't have a slot corner, and it's killing us. We got to get it in the mid-round in this draft. Whether it be Mike Sainristil, University of Michigan, whether it be Tyke Smith, University of Georgia. Guys like that, are a strong possibility. Let me look through the mag here. It just came out. Who else are we? We're looking at Terrion Arnold, potentially. I don't think none of these are going to happen. Kool-Aid, McKinstry, Alabama, and Terrion Arnold, Alabama. Outside corners, I don't think it's happening. Nate Wiggins, Clemson, I don't think it's happening. Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo. We like him. Second and third round. He's moving up the charts after a great combine and pro day. Quinyon Mitchell, great statistics and everything. Is he a slot? He's more of an outside corner. We can put him in a slot. We can try that. We have decent depth at outside corner, but we don't have that. We might have to re-sign Chandon Sullivan. I believe no one picked him up, if I'm not wrong. Might have to re-sign him in a slot. If not, you got to get one of these guys in the draft, man. Mike Sainristil, like I said, University of Michigan national champion. They like Kamari Lassiter from University of Georgia. I really don't. Not physical enough. He's not a Steeler. He's not Steeler material. At safety, we're looking at Tyler Newman, who's incredible. Incredible safety. Kalen Bullock, USC. He'd be solid. He'd be solid for the future. James Williams from University of Miami. I can see him falling in the 4th and 5th round. 6'5.5", 230. Decent speed, but he's a thumper, and he gets a lot of interceptions and forced fumbles. He's a playmaker, but he can't really cover. I ain't going to lie to you. He can't really cover. Moving downhill as a strong safety, he'd be crazy. As an emergency free safety, he'd be crazy at 6'5.5". The guy's got the build like a Megatron, Calvin Johnson type wide receiver build, or like a huge inside linebacker with a slim build. He just doesn't look like a safety, but he can play like crazy. He's wild. We were definitely talking to him and Tyke Smith. Tyke Smith is a strong safety / nickel slot corner type hybrid guy that will probably fall in the 4th or 5th, 6th round. I'd probably get him with that 4th round pick if Mike Sainristil is gone. Tyke Smith might be safe. We definitely, like I said, we have to definitely fill in that nickel corner spot. It's a big gaping hole right there. Besides that, we're set, man, on defense. I mean, anybody we grab is going to be for depth. We just really need a slot corner as a starter. We got everything else covered for the most part. Top 5 defense easily this year. We get the right cogs, you know what I mean, from here on in the draft and loose and free agency. You might want to bring back some guys in the summertime if we don't have everything we need. Miles Jack is still out there. Your boy should be healed by then, more than likely. Quan Alexander, we'd love to have him back for depth, if nothing else. Potential starter if people get hurt like they did last year. You're going to need one more outside pass rusher. Last year's rookie, Nick Herbig, did a fine job, but Marcus Golden was still better. He was our number 3 outside linebacker, backing up TJ Watt while Highsmith was getting backed up by Nick Herbig. You might want to bring Golden back for about $2-3 million. Or Bud Dupree's old ass be a good option. You know, he knows the system. You know, he's welcome around here. But at this point, they're both around the same age, and Marcus Golden actually had a better career than Bud Dupree. I might bring back Marcus Golden. Dupree is a little big in the ass. Pause if necessary. He's damn near 280 pounds now. He's damn near a defensive end like we drafted him at. He's a 4-3 defensive end from Kentucky in 2015 that we took mid-first round. And he had some highlights, but he was, you know, his career is pretty much marred by injury, or else he'd still be here. Overpriced. We made him into an outside linebacker. We made him what he is today. But Bud Dupree, at this point in his career, Bud is like about 33 years old, and so is Marcus Golden. Who would you choose, man? One of them dudes is probably coming back, is what I'm telling you. Either before the draft, right after the draft, or maybe even in the summer. You could bring Quan Alexander back. Miles Jack is hanging out there. Still, he's not fully retired. Eric Rowe, from what I understand, has not been signed at safety. This is some guys we can bring in for $2-3 million for 1 year and really bolster up and finish off certain positional duties, positional depth. But right now, if we had to start the season right now, we look great on defense. On offense, there's some question marks, man. Let's get the offense, man. Come on, like I said, we don't have a great 2 or 3 receiver. We don't have a great slot or a great starting right outside receiver. We have to definitely address one of the 2 or both next month. It has to happen. Tight end, we don't need no more tight ends. If we grabbed a great tight end, I guess we would almost have to make Connor Haywood a fullback, but he loves being a tight end / type player. I mean, we got Freiermuth here for 1 more year. He hasn't been extended a contract because he got hurt last year. He went and got hurt on us. So we got Muth here. Backup. I don't know who the 2 or the 3 is going to be after camp, but it's a great battle between Darnell Washington, who doesn't get many targets or many catches, but he's an excellent blocker that we moved up to get in the 3rd round. 2nd round? 3rd round last year. It was a disappointment in the passing game, but great blocker. It's almost like having a 6th lineman when he's out there. 6 offensive linemen. So we got Darnell Washington. We got Connor Hayward, Cam Hayward's little brother, who's like a tight end hybrid / H-back, fullback, special teams cover dude, up back on kick returns. He can return balls. Yeah, he's like 5'11 3/4, 232 pounds, and plays everything. He's a little tank. We got him, and we still got, technically, is he still on the roster? Yeah, Rodney Williams, Hot Rod Williams. If he's not, he's a free agent. No, he's on the team. Is he? I don't know. I don't know if Rod Williams is he still on the roster? Even if he's a free agent, they're going to bring him back and put him in camp. He was excellent on special teams and doable on offense, pause if necessary. Let me see. Anybody in the chat, you know if Rodney Williams is still with the team? The 4th string tight end, Rodney Williams. I'm looking on the roster right now. I do not see Hot Rod. I don't see Rodney Williams. Yeah, he's there. 6'4". He's only 235. Oh, he slimmed down on us. Number 87. Rodney Williams is still there. So we got our 4 tight ends. We don't really need SHIT at tight end. We just need that number 2, number 3 wide receiver. And you know what we need? A center. We don't have a center at all. We cut Mason Cole because of them stupid low snaps every week. Effort wasn't there like it should have been, but he never missed a down. He was solid for 2 years. He played every game. But we need a guy like that. No, we need a guy much better than that. Can you get it in the draft in the 3rd or 4th round? Possibly. You can. You can get someone a little bit better than Mason Rudolph. I meant Mason Cole. I miss Mason Rudolph. I like Mason Rudolph. Always did. But Mason Cole being gone, you're going to more than likely have to draft a center in the 2nd round. A lot of people say just get it done in the 1st round. Just reach for any of them. You know, Jackson Powers Johnson, University of Oregon at the 20th pick, 1st round. Hope he slips the 2nd. Maybe pick him up, move up to get him in the 2nd after you get something else that you wanted, another position in the 1st. Or Zach Francis might fall right on your lap with the 51st pick in the 2nd round. University of West Virginia, power lifter, tough guy. Local, that's a local visit, by the way. He doesn't take up one of the 30 Pittsburgh in-house visits because he's within a 90-mile, 100-mile radius of the city of Pittsburgh. So, we're talking to him, obviously. We love Zach Francis. We like Cedric Van Pran Granger, University of Georgia, 3-year starter, never missed a game. He's maybe the only pure center. All these other centers that are going high in the draft, allegedly, potentially, were guards first for a couple of years, then converted to center. Do you want that again? You want another Kendrick Green / Mason Cole? Or you want a pure center like Cedric Van Pran Granger, University of Georgia, who may fall in the 3rd, definitely fall in the 2nd, has no chance of falling in the 1st unless we grab him, unless we reach. That would go good. I mean, look at their present offense right now. Darnell Washington getting significant snaps at backup tight end, blocking tight end. You got Broderick Jones at right tackle, also left tackle ready. Our 1st round pick from last year, who we moved up to get in the 1st round. You got starting number 1 wide receiver now, upgraded to number 1, George Pickens from University of Georgia. Why not another Georgia guy? Why not Cedric Van Pran instead of Zach Francis in the 2nd round or Jackson Powers Johnson in a mid-1st to mid-2nd? Why not Van Pran? Get 2 players you want, then go get Van Pran. Got a lot of picks day 2. Got a few picks day 3, 1 pick in the 1st round day 1. There's all kinds of ways we can do this. What people are living out, you know what they're living out? Kingsley, potential pick mid-rounds. Or Bo Limmer, Arkansas, 3-4 years starter. He only plays center. Big boy, SEC. Arkansas is not a great team, but he's a damn good center. Not an All-American, but a guy who can plug and play right away in the NFL. Nice size. Let me look up Bo Limmer. Bo Limmer would be a nice choice at center after you go draft 2-3 players already. Come back, circle the block, and go get my boy, Bo Limmer. Let me find this guy, man. I like about 5 different magazines. Athlon's maybe my 2nd. I love Lindy, Street and Smith's. I've been rocking Street and Smith's draft guide since 1978. But I've been rolling with Athlons because it comes out the quickest. They got Caleb Williams on the front. They give you a lot. Statistics. Each player profile. Hundreds of players. Yeah, with that being concerned, Bo Limmer, I was talking about. Let me look up my boy Bo. University of Arkansas. Let's get to Graham Barton after that. We got Cooper Beebe. Kansas State plays guard primarily, also plays center. Where's my boy Bo Limmer? In this magazine, they have Bo going in the 6th round. I think he'll be out. 4th round be a sweet spot for Bo Limmer. he would be a nice fourth round pick for us. 6'5", 307. Bo is 22 years old. His strengths, he's another taller interior presence with solid length. Limmer uses his hands well at the point of attack, latching onto defenders and using his bigger frame and longer arms to keep them engaged and moving where he wants them to go. He's got impressive agility and short area quickness for his size, and he maintains his balance against inside rushers and pass protection. He's got the patience and motor to recover if he loses early in the rep. Experience of both guard and center gives him versatility the NFL teams like, but he's primarily a center. His weaknesses, Limmer, he lacks the top level burst and speed to consistently climb quickly into the second level to be effective out in space. That's not good. His overall technique is inconsistent at best and prevents him from maximizing his physical traits. Keeping his pads low from the snap to whistle would be a continuous challenge, as it is usually for taller blockers because he's 6'5", along the interior. Some added bulk could help Limmer, if he bulks up, could help Limmer anchor more effectively against power rushers and allow him one-on-one blocks more frequently. His final analysis, his lack of athleticism and elite movement skills limits his ceiling, but Limmer's got some physical traits that could be refined into a potential start material. At worst, he has the versatility to be a valuable backup who can plug into multiple spots when injuries pop up in the starting lineup. It's pretty much what we've been dealing with anyway. But if we don't successfully get any of the top three centers, he is a very good choice in the third day of the draft in between the fourth and sixth round. If he's still around and we're desperate, go get Bo Limmer. He's better than anything we got right now at center. You don't want to really move Nate Herbig to center from backup right guard. You might want to do that, really. Why is Nate Herbig coming from the Eagles and getting $4 million a year to sit the bench and hardly ever play? Now, granted, when Isaac Seumalo, former Eagle also, in free agency that we picked up last year for not a lot of money, when Seumalo went down with injury for a few games, Nate Herbig filled in admirably at left guard. He could fill in at right guard if James Daniels went down to injury. But $4 million, that's starting money to sit the bench, and Mason Cole's gone, and you're not like the first option to go play center. I know we don't want to go through these experiments no more, making guard centers, but he has a little bit of center experience. What would make sense, even though you don't want to take him out of his successful position because he might be our best interior lineman for the last couple of years, James Daniels, our starting right guard who never misses a down or a game. He used to play center for a half a season with the Chicago Bears and did well at it. He's just as good of a center as he is a right guard, from what I understand, what I've heard. So, at least for 1 year, if we don't draft a top center in the top three, in the first, second, or third round of the draft, why not just put James Daniels over there for a year or a half a year? Put Daniels over there, maybe move Nate Herbig to right guard. He can handle it. For $4 million, he's going to have to handle it, and we can get it popping. Or here goes another thing. We can grab a guy like Graham Barton, highly rated, man, a guard that also plays center. He had 5 games as a starting center. Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. That's another guy who can play guard and center, tackle guard and center. But no, I was saying that Graham Barton, Duke, 6'5", 314, only 21 years old. He's a guy who may be able to plug in and play center if he's good enough to stay there for the rest of his career. We are looking at some guards too. You can get a top flight guard in the second, third round or fourth round and potentially move one of these veterans we have on the roster already to center and plug that guy in as starting guard. There's all kinds of ways we could do it. Nickel and diamond, moving around, shucking and jiving, or we can just go out and get a top center like Jackson Powers Johnson in the first or second round, Zach Frazier in the second round, Cedric Van Pran reach in the second round or fall right to us in the third round. There's all kinds of ways we can do it. Bo Limmer will be the sweet spot in the fourth round if we don't get none of them. It's a headache, man. Nobody can get some sleep over the center situation. We had to start the season today. We don't have no true center. Ryan McCullum, the backup center on our roster, is a bum. He can't handle position. He really doesn't belong on the roster. I can't call a man a bum. He just don't fit what we doing, but he's good enough. He's a training camp body. He's good enough to take those snaps in the fourth quarter of them preseason games, the 3 preseason games. You know what I mean? To keep the backup quarterbacks warm. But him and that guy we drafted in the 7th round last year, this Ryan Anderson cat, supposed to be a jack of all trades, like I said, tackle, guard, and center. Got experience at all of them at University of Maryland, but he's a master of none. Couldn't even put him in a game last year. He suited up. Man, this guy ain't no center, man. We got all these potential. We got 4 guys with center experience on a college or pro level on our veteran roster right now, on our regular roster, and none of them are being considered from what I speculate to be a starting center this upcoming year for the Steelers. So we're going to have to more than likely draft a center or one of these 2 or 3 starting centers that's still laying around in free agency that are half injured. We might just have to sign one of these guys for 1 or 2 years. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with center, but on offense, I said what it is. We straight at running back, we straight at tight end, plenty of depth. Offensive line, solid. Of course, I can't. Left tackle. Nobody likes your boy for the last 3 years. Your boy, left tackle, Texas A&M, Dan Moore. I like Dan Moore. He's not good. He's not good at left tackle, but he doesn't suck. He doesn't suck. That should not be the standard. The standard is the standard, and that's not the standard. He should not suck. He should be good. He's average, but he plays every down. He never got hurt. 51 starts in 3 years, 51 games, 51 starts. He came in here the same year as Najee Harris. They both started all 51 games. You got to get some credit for that. He's in the last year of his rookie contract. This is his 4th and final season with the Steelers, potentially. Do you take the position off the guy? Broderick Jones took the position. He's a left tackle, went to right tackle. He took the position off of Chooks, but he didn't take it off of Dan Moore. Dan Moore, from what I understand, cannot be an effective starting right tackle, so they can't flip-flop. You're going to have to draft a tackle in this draft. You don't have no good backups. You don't. Dylan Cook is not a good backup. Ryan Anderson is a shit backup. Them dudes is deep depth type fixtures, but no one is the 3rd offensive tackle. You got to put us in a position where if you have to bench Dan Moore, he's a solid backup left tackle. He's a solid 3rd tackle. We can move stuff around. We're going. Since we didn't do it in free agency, there's really not anyone for a few dollars that are viable enough to bring in. I mean, nobody to plug and play right now. I wouldn't fool around and get a tackle on free agency now. They're not even going to beat out Dan Moore, so why bring one in? Go get you a top flight tackle in the 1st or 2nd round, hopefully not the 3rd. Go get a top flight tackle in that 1st or 2nd round, or you're probably not going to get one at all. If you can't get a top flight tackle in the 1st or 2nd round, where all these guys we're looking at, or don't choose to get a top flight tackle, we're stuck with Dan Moore for 1 more year. You might have to get a do-it-all offensive lineman that plays everything in the 3rd or 4th round, or maybe even the 6th. Get a sleeper in the 6th round as a strong backup. But it looks like Dan Moore is going to, again, start left tackle, and Broderick Jones from Georgia is going to be at right tackle. That's what it's starting to look like right now, but we never know. Next month is the draft. It could change everything, change the whole trajectory of what we're doing on offense. But when we talk about exterior offensive linemen, offensive tackles, we've talked to Talise Fuaga, Oregon State. You know we love our Samoans. We got to bring in a Samoan in free agency or in the draft every year. We love, so this is a Samoan-friendly team. Potential 1st round of Oregon State. We like J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham is a damn good right tackle from Alabama. I can see us bringing in Latham. Nobody's going to like the pick. It's not a sexy pick, but Latham, 1st round, 20th pick. University of Alabama, plug and play at right tackle. Switch Broderick over to left tackle where he's happy. We got our booking tackles. Or I met him at the combine. Really nice guy. One of Broderick Jones' best friends, his former teammate, 2-time national champions together, Amarius Mims. Only started 8 games at Georgia. but he's solid, man. He's really a second round pick. But the Steelers will be the team to move up. To grab him in the first round as a reach because he'll fit us perfectly. He's a right tackle. Throw his ass at right tackle. Throw his teammate Broderick Jones at left tackle. We got a Georgia offensive line. And you might come back in the second or third round, get Cedric Van Pran Granger from University of Georgia, who's been a 3-year center with 2 national championship rings. You have both your tackles and your center and your blocking tight end are all University of Georgia, and you're starting number 1 wide receiver George Pickens. That would be crazy. That would be nuts, and it's possible. It's easy as that. They'll both fall in your lap. First, second round, ain't nobody think about them too. You go in the third round, in the fourth round, looking at slot corners. You know what I mean? Looking at a slot corner and a slot wide receiver like Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky in the third round. You know what I mean? And maybe get like Mike Sanders still third or fourth round from University of Michigan as the slot corner, Tyke Smith at strong safety / slot corner third or fourth round, and we'll be good. Think about it. One other thing I wanted to add. Graham Barton. I covered Graham Barton. You got Javon Foster out there, plays both tackles in Missouri, fourth round, potential fourth rounder. If we don't get nothing else, we can double back and get a good solid third tackle. They're looking at a lot of interior linemen, man. Graham Barton, Cedric Van Pran Granger, Zach Frazier, Christian Mahogany, Boston College, guard. If you go guard and make one of our present guards a center, you can go that direction. Javon Cohen, Miami, fourth round. Bo Limmer. Tell you, man, Bo Limmer's at the sweet spot. Fourth round, especially if you slip to 6, is a no-brainer. We didn't pick up a center in the 4th or the 6th, and he's still around. Bo Limmer, man. Bo Limmer can come in here at least be a decent center as a rookie and grow to be a pretty good center. Kind of like Jeff Hardings when we won in 2005. In 2005, when we won a Super Bowl 40, no one thought when we brought in Jeff Hardings from Penn State he'd be a star center. He was a damn good center. He went from average to pretty good to damn good, or at least good for us. He was good for a second-year Roethlisberger, a rookie Roethlisberger. Broke him in, pause if necessary. Edge defenders, we're looking at Austin Booker, 5th or 6th round. Javon Solomon from Troy. Pretty much no one else. We got, we're pretty solid there. We just need to re-sign one of our former outside linebackers, like I said, a Marcus Golden or Bud Dupree. Interior defensive lineman, I don't see the use. We like Ruka Rojo. I can't pronounce his name, from Clemson. We like him a lot. McKinley Jackson, 3rd round. Braden Fisk, all 32 teams like him after his great combine performance and his pro day skill set. It was beautiful. He's projected as like a 4th rounder. Some people might be like, he's the reach of the century. Some crazy team might grab him in the first. He might have a great football player right there. His immeasurables are sick. He's almost 300 pounds. He jumps out the gym. That fool runs a 4.40. You know what I mean? That's crazy. 300 pounds. Come on, man. Damn near 300 pounds, 290-something defensive lineman. I love to bring him in, man. If he's still around the 4th round, you grab him just because he's there. Darius Robinson, Missouri, 6th round. He might fall to the 6th. We like Jordan Jefferson, potential 7th rounder, LSU. That big boy might be a great undrafted or a 6th rounder. You might just want to bring. If he goes undrafted, I'll just probably get him undrafted. We might have a gem right there. Corner, man, we talking about 8 corners, man. Most of them slots. Kamari Lassiter, Mike Sanders still. We love Quinyon Mitchell. There's a strong possibility we draft this fool in the 2nd or 3rd round. Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo, small school, kind of like the schools where we got James Harrison from and Deontay Johnson, that MAC conference, that Ohio type area, Ben Roethlisberger, guys like that. Roosevelt Nix, Rosie Nix. We find guys like that all the time. that little conference. Hardcore blue collar football at a smaller school. Cooper DeJean. That's the baddest white boy. He's gonna be the baddest white boy since Jason Sehorn. Probably the only starting white boy at corner. That boy is nasty. Iowa does it all. Speed, don't have a lot of strength, not a great tackler, but I mean he makes big plays, takes it to the house, return man. I met him at the combine, really good kid. He's a possibility. He's if he slips to 20, Pittsburgh might be crazy enough to get him. There'll be a part of the fan base that would love to have him too. Kool-Aid McKinstry. I don't think he's going to be there. I'm not even going to. If he fall to 20, I'll be shocked. I don't think he'll be there. Terrion Arnold might be there, and we like him a lot. That's his teammate at Alabama. Nate Wiggins. We like Nate Wiggins already, but with the present corner situation, I doubt we get him. We went corner in the first round and got one of these four in the first round. Terrion Arnold, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean. It would shock me because we never go for first round corners. I guess you can almost call Joey Porter Jr. last year the 32nd overall pick. They called it a second round because Miami had to forego their first round pick. But whenever you got top 32, in essence, that's really a first round pick. JPJ and come back the next year and get a first round All American corner would be crazy, but it would solve the problem. We've been crying for about 40 years that we ain't got two top flight corners on the roster at the same time. This will solve it. I like Dante Jackson right now as the corner. But imagine having Dante Jackson, a first round corner, JPJ as your outside guys, and your backups, depth backups are Darius Rush, rookie from last year, and Corey Trice, 6'3", rookie from last year, that got injured really bad in preseason and never played one down in the regular season. He was almost like a layaway player in the 7th round. We're going to give him a chance to really show what he got this year. Safeties, like we really like Cameron Kitchens is number one, but we're not getting it. We like Tyler Newman, Kalen Bullock. Like I said, 6'5.5". James Williams, Tyke Smith can also play nickel, corner, and strong safety. We got our punter. We got our Australian punter. We got Cameron Johnston in free agency. We good there. I believe we covered everything, y'all, but let's get down to it. Who do you think is going to be the first round player? I'm going to name all the guys we're looking at. It's about 2020. We did our due diligence. About 25 guys we're considering that we've interviewed, and some of them have further interviews next month where we'll bring them to the facilities in Pittsburgh to really get to know them for a 4-hour date, pause if necessary. We did talk to Bo Nix at quarterback. We're not getting him, obviously. But we do have we have a visit set up in Pittsburgh for Michael Penix Jr., who's just in the national championship, lost to Michigan. The great Michael Penix Jr. at quarterback. Even though we have 3 veteran quarterbacks right now, 3 solid veteran quarterbacks, we're still going to talk to this guy. You got to remember, sometimes Mike Tomlin brings in guys that he's not going to draft or doesn't expect to be able to get to draft, just because 4 or 5 years from now, when they become a free agent, they're going to remember us in the visit and remember Mike Tomlin, remember our front office, and they might want to come here and get signed. Let me tell you something. 70% of the major free agents that Steelers signed in the last 17 years are guys that Mike Tomlin already talked to during the draft process right now, like right now. He's already talked to them, made his impressions on them, pushed his great personality on them, and they remember that, and they want to come back and play here one day. That happens all the time. That's the formula getting free agents. We don't like strangers around here. We like you to already know us, and we know you. And that's why you see a lot of times Mike Tomlin, before a game, during warm-ups and stretches, he'll go to the other team and pick out certain players and chum it up with them. You think he's kissing butt, but he's methodical. He's like an evil genius. He's like, yo, I know this guy got 1 year left on his contract. Let me chum it up with him. He might want to come here in free agency. He might not be happy with this sub 500 team. He might want to come play with a winner. And you'll see him after the game hugging guys like they're his son or something. Like, how do you know this guy? Through the path to the draft, you met him at the Combine, the Senior Bowl. You went to his pro day. You invite him into Pittsburgh Steelers for an official visit in April for 4 hours one day, took him out to dinner and everything, around the facility, show him the 6 Lombardi trophies in the office. You got to know this guy on 4 occasions in one spring, one late winter, early spring, and you see him all the time in the NFL, and you dap him up and chat with him, and you soften him up for when he becomes a free agent. He'll come, he might come running back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It happens all the time. So I'm giving you like the mindset of the front office and the coaching staff of the Steelers as far as how they grab some of these decent free agents for little to no money. They want to come here. Some of them, you even hear them say, I would love to be a Steeler one day or before I retire, so forth and so on. Have we covered everything, y'all? If we haven't, we'll cover it in part 2. We'll have another one before the draft and a part 3, the actual weekend of the draft, live from the draft. I'll be at the draft like I always am. I'll be in my war room and we'll be getting it in. You know what I mean? Pause if necessary. Light Skin U of Light Skin Television, I Worship Steelers show. I'm going to be here more consistent like I was about a decade and a half ago on YouTube. I'm back. I Worship Steelers show is a real thing. Light Skin U is in the house. I still do my Mike Tomlin impressions. Look me up on YouTube at Light Tomlin. Light Tomlin. You know what I mean? I give you the great Mike Tomlin impressions and what have you, little skits and what have you. But I'm going to give you the insight, the underground news and what have you, and the path to the draft. I'm 10 toes down, man. I'm always at the combine, the draft, in the trenches, on the camp, on the official ESPN cameras, NFL Network cameras. I'm there for you. True Steeler Nation, uncompromised. Your man Light Skin U. Subscribe, hit the like button. You know what I mean? Check me out, y'all. I'm gonna be on the spot more often. I'm really a big hip hop guy. You know what I mean? Battle rap music, battle rap reporter, battle rap music, radio DJ. You know what I mean? Check me out on block105.com every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. I have a 1-hour mix show when I'm cutting, scratching, blending. You know what I mean? All battle rappers music only. You know what I mean? So check me out on that. Got a lot of stuff going on. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of all them shits. You know what I mean? Light Skin U, and I'm out.